And now on Journey to Tomorrow, we're joined by someone that you might recognise if you listen to Castledown regularly. Yes, we're joined by Mike Pratt, who is in to talk all about his band and his new album. Good evening, Mike.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Mike.
Good
Put
to be
it there,
here.
brother.
High five.
Yeah.
I can't do high fives through the
Through the glass,
Through the
Rossy.
glass.
We've done it.
So, as well as a budding DJ here at Castledown, you're very musical.
Well, I've made an album, yeah. I've been songwriting ever since I was at school, which was some years ago now, and finally got round to making an album. 12 tracks in all. It's taken since November 2009 to finish off. I haven't worked on it continuously since then, I must point out, but on and off since then, and it is now finally ready.
So, what's the album called?
The album is called Where I Stand.
Wow! Right.
Make a note of that, Ross.
Right. I'm just scribbling it down now.
Some good keyboard sound effects would be good now.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. It's just not working.
There's no horror tracks on it, Cap.
and of course, as well as that, obviously we've played one of your tracks before the interview. But how would you describe your music?
Well, it's as varied as possible, really, Rossy. Basically, there's no one set style on the album. We've got a couple of sort of jazzier tracks, a couple of tracks that sound like they were recorded in the 1960s but weren't, a pair of more rocky ones, a couple of sort of Latino-y, sort of Hispanic-y sounding tracks. So really trying not to do one style but to do a variety of different things and explore different types of music on the album. There was never the intention just to do 12 tracks of the same sound in a sort of singer-songwriter mode, because I thought that would be rather dull. So yeah, there's plenty of variety there.
Good one. Would that be why it's taken you so long?
Partly also because I'm not particularly an instrumentalist. I do play guitar on the album. My involvement is mainly in the songwriting. That's my main area of interest. So I do play guitar on the album, but we had to get a few different people in to play guitars, and we've got violin player on there, keyboard players, and it takes a bit of time to sort of assemble the right people for different sessions. And I think also my producer found me to be a bit of a perfectionist, and I'd go in and say, I want the trumpets a bit louder, and I want the guitars a bit quieter, and can we have this? And he would sigh, and then he would do it.
Well, before we move on, Mike, are your mic levels okay? Do I need to turn you down?
Well, I don't know. I think maybe we need to adjust the EQ a bit, so we can do a bit of tweak.
Oh gosh!
Don't get me started, Ross. We won't ever finish the interview.
I was going to say, which button is that? Is it this one?
Yeah. No.
Oh dear. And as well, obviously, you say that there's other people involved on your album. Would you just like to kind of give them all a little bit of a mention?
Yeah, sure. Basically, the producer of the album is a chap called Philip Lane, and I worked at a studio in North East Wales in Powys to record this album. I wanted to record it somewhere, pleasant surroundings and somewhere creative. And Phil did a lot of filling in the instruments on the album, things like keyboards and the drum programming and things. And he did the production and the engineering. We had other people like Tony Skeggs, who's a really great guitar player, who played a lot of the guitars on the album. Mark Warden, another great guitar player, who did all the lead guitar work. And Jane Lane played keyboards, and we had a couple of backing vocalists as well, Kerry Ann Collins and Jenny Lane. So quite a few people came in and helped out, people that I didn't know before I started making the album, but people that the studio knew. The studio provided quite a lot of session players to fill in, and it was fun because it was fun working with different people. While the album was mine, and I could say what I wanted and what I liked and what I didn't like. And in one case, basically had one guy play the same guitar solo 12 times, and we actually used 6 different bits of different solos to make the final solo, because I want that bit of that one, and I want that bit of that one. So you can see the levels of intricacy you can get to if you don't stand back and go, okay, it's fine as it is. So, but yeah, it was good fun. And one thing I really enjoyed doing was backing vocals. Backing vocals are great fun. You record one line, and you do one set of vocals, and you rewind, and you do another set, and then you do it again, and then you gradually build up this choir of voices. It's good fun. It's very good fun.
It sounds it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you make it sound so fun making an album. I mean, you know, we've heard of some bands that just say, you know, oh yeah, you know, we've been going on for this, we've been trying to do this, and kind of don't create that sound, don't we, Count? You know. And you know, it's just quite nice to kind of hear that, you know, it's just out there and just having fun.
It can be great fun, and but there are other times where it doesn't come out the way you expect it to.
Yeah,
and there are a couple of tracks on the album that I wrote, and if you told me 3-4 years ago that track would sound like that today, I wouldn't have believed you, because but it doesn't mean it's bad. It just didn't sound like the way I imagined it originally when I wrote it. But it's a very long and convoluted process making an album. I think the people on X Factor and other shows, they make it sound easy. Oh, you know, we'll do the show, we'll make a single, and then we'll make an album. And it sounds like it's sort of like you go in for a week or two and it comes. And actually, you know, that's when they've got all the right teams in place, they've got the songs already ready, you know, and you've got a lot of people working on it full time. But in my case, working on it part-time, it takes a lot longer. It's a big project. It's a bit like doing a PhD or something. I'd imagine it's 3 years of your life on and off, and it's a big thing to do, you know.
And I was going to ask as well, you know, you said all the kind of about the X Factor and kind of processes. Have you found it kind of harder to kind of create really the album and the sound you want, because you know you see all these kind of people and it's like, yeah, you know, brilliant, I'll enter the X Factor, I'll get all of this, I'll have all these record selling albums, and you know, because we spoke to quite a few artists on Journey to Tomorrow and they're just kind of quite happy just to, you know, get their sound out there.
I just don't regard myself in the same field as those people, because they're all generally much younger, and they're generally not songwriters. They're performers and singers and things, and I wouldn't regard what I do in making that album, making the album that I have, as relating in any way to what X Factor does. And I'm not a criticiser of X Factor. I think it's a good show, and some interesting talents come through from it, but it's so different from what I've done on the album.
And talking about your album, is this your first album?
It is, yeah, the first one I've made, and really, I think it's possible because technology has allowed people to make albums almost in their bedrooms, in their homes. And this wasn't made in my home; it was made in a studio. But it's given people like me who aren't necessarily instrumentalists or amazing singers, now have the opportunity to go and do something like this. And there's a lot of people at the studio where I made the album, which is the Beehouse studios in North Wales, that come into the studio and they do a session. They've literally never been in a studio before, never recorded anything, and they can go in for a day and they can come out with a track, with a basic set of instruments on it, and so it's much more accessible than it used to be. I don't think this would have been possible 40, 20, 10, even 10 years ago.
No, because I remember when I tried, no luck.
But you made a couple of singles, didn't you, Count?
Well, we made a few tapes in studio in Andover, but apart from that, no.
You're just being modest now, Count. You're just being modest.
One thing that's made such a difference is the internet. The ability to put tracks out there on the internet, on YouTube, MP3s, and you've got that distribution there. That people want it, they can get it, which you just didn't have before.
That's right.
I'm going to tell everyone I give a free CD to that I want them to tell 2 other people that they like it, if they do like it, and try and spread the word of it. There's social media and stuff that I know nothing about. Hopefully we can spread the word.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we do this, put this out on the air, you'll certainly get some airplay then, my boy.
Exactly. However, though, Count, we have to say, and this is normally, I've got my wine in my hand, and I'm normally sat on my balcony if it's sunshiny, right? Mike is on the radio, I'm there enjoying Mike's mix of music. And I have to say, if people listen to your Friday night show, Mike, they may have heard your music before.
They might have done, I don't play my tracks every week, but I have played probably 3 or 4 tracks on the show.
I've heard them.
So hopefully, there's a bit of exposure there. And I will play them occasionally, but not too much, or else people will think I'm a bit too self-involved. Not good.
I was going to say, obviously, you kind of your album gets out there, and thinking kind of in the future, would you maybe make another album, or you kind of depends on how well this album goes?
I'm very, very tempted. I'm not sure at the moment. I have got songs. I've written loads of songs, so the material isn't a problem. It does take time and effort and cost to make an album, so we'll see how it goes. But I am very tempted, I will tell you.
And as well as that, just before you do go, Mike, if people want to hear your music, whereabouts can they get the information about it?
The best place to go is my website, which is www.mikepratt.com.
And as well as that, that'll have all your music on there that listeners can listen to?
Yes, and it will have links to where you can buy the album and listen to samples of the tracks, definitely.
Well, thank you very much, Mike, for coming in this evening.
Hang on a minute. I understand you have a internet radio.
I do, yes.
Station
I
thing.
do. So, yeah, separate to Castledown, I also appear on my own internet radio station called Mike Live Radio. And some of my tracks have been previewing on that over the last year or two.
Oh, right.
And I did have one email fairly recently saying, I want to buy the album when it's out. So I had a little bit of reaction.
Yeah, nice one.
There you go. Pre-order it now by emailing studio@castledownradio.info on a Friday night. How about that?
No, all I got to do to pre-order it is say, "Here, Mick, I'd like a copy."
Yeah, but the listeners can't do that.
Oh, right. Fair enough.
Yeah. So if you want a copy, get in now. Studio@castledownradio.info on a Friday night after your show.
Yes, sir.
9 till 11.
Yeah.
How about that?
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Mike.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers, Mick. Good of you to drop in, mate.